So this topic is all about corrosion and its control. So before going to discuss about what corrosion is and what are the different prevention and control method, let us have a look into different materials around us. So here in this slide, some materials has been shown. Like this is a Statue of Liberty. This is Eiffel Tower. This is a fan. This is a nail. This is a vessel made from silver, and these are the vessel made from copper, right? If a question comes, how these materials are made and from which kind of substances, definitely the answer will be it's made from metals, right? Any metal, right? Each of these materials has been made from some kind of a metals. Now let us go to the next slide. So now, if you look into this slide, right, there is one question that is there any change in the materials, right? If you see these materials, is there any visibility that any difference in there, like any change between the materials, like this nail and this nail, these are the two, what happens, the glasses, these are the two same, what happens, the statues, this is some kind of materials. Is there any changes which is clearly visible? Let us see the answer. So yes, there's a change, right? Then what change is there? Definitely another question comes to mind. What change is there in this figure? What we can see the changes are in the iron, right, which is originally silver gray color that has gone to reddish brown. The copper, original color reddish brown, has gone to green color, and the Statue of Liberty, the original copper color, has gone to green. Again, go back to the previous slide, have a look into that. So here see, this is what happens. The nail that is silver is gray color has gone to reddish brown. This is copper glass, also the inner side is green in color. So this is also made from copper. This changes into green. This is what happens, made from iron and copper, and you see this color is changed into the green color. So this is whatever these are the nothing but the what changes what is visible to us. Now, why the color is changed? Formation of some compounds on the surface, right? The next question could be why the compounds are formed, because of which the color has been changed. Then the next answer could be why the compounds are formed, because the metals react, right? Why does metal react? Have a look into this diagram. Why the metals react? Normally, if we see into our day-to-day life, right, any material that's made from, right, some kind of metals, right, the metals which is being used to make the material, that is a pure metal, right? Does the pure metal exist, right, in the pure form naturally? The answer is no, right? What the process is, normally we extract, right, the ore from the mine by providing energy, by using energy, right? Then we get the pure metal, then the metal is being used to manufacture different materials. Now if the metal is exposed to the atmosphere, then it reacts with that and it undergoes corrosion, that is a corrosion product. And under temperature and pressure, that corrosion product, oxides or maybe sulfide of the metal, that goes into ore, right? Now the question is why metals react, right? Now what happens here, right? Look into this is the energy axis, energy is increasing in this way. If you look into this, the pure metal, right, having high energy as compared to ore. And the natural principle is anything having lower energy is more stable as compared to the thing having higher energy. So if you compare the ore and its pure metal, that means the pure metal having higher energy compared to its ore. That's why when we get the pure metal that combines or react with the atmosphere, again come back into the corrosion state, right, which is having less energy. That is shown here also. The metal ore, energy is used to, what happens, extract it, we get the pure metal, then the pure metal loses energy during the corrosion process. right? So why does metal react? Then the answer is being having higher energy compared to its combined state, right? The same has been explained here. Mineral that exist in the form of ions, extraction by reduction process goes to pure metal. Pure metal when exposed to the atmosphere, right, then it undergoes corrosion and give the corrosion product. So this is what happens, less energy compared to the pure metal. That's a metal has the tendency to react with its surrounding and goes to the stable state. Now the next is, what is corrosion? Then we can define now. So corrosion is nothing but a destruction of the metal due to its chemical or electrochemical reaction with its environment, leading to reduction in the thickness of the metal along with the loss of some metallic properties like malleability, ductility, electrical conductivity, and optical refractivity. Right? So corrosion is nothing but a process in which there will be loss of a material, right? Why loss of material? Because some part of the material will be used to form the compounds over its surface, right? So there's a loss of a material, and ultimately the thickness of the metal decreases. Also there is a loss of a useful metallic properties. Example is like this is what happens here. This is not the original color of iron, so it is corroded. This is what happens, the not original color of a copper. Copper is also corroded. This is made from silver, not original color. This is tarnished. Now some examples of a corrosion, right? Rusting of iron here. What happens here when the pure metal exposed to the atmosphere or its surrounding, which contains oxygen and water, then it gives you what happens, a compound iron hydroxide. Ultimately goes to iron oxide, which is nothing but the rust, right? So here another is a copper vessel made from copper, but what happens when it undergoes corrosion, the surface changes into green color, right? So this green color is nothing but due to copper carbonate. So the pure metal copper reacts with the carbon dioxide in its surrounding and give rise to formation of a copper carbonate, and that brings the green color over the surface. Similarly, like your silver that got a tarnish, right? When it is exposed to the atmosphere, silver combined with what happens, sulfur, right? Sulfur basically comes from the hydrogen sulfide gas in its surrounding, then give rise to formation of a silver sulfide over the surface, and that make the article or material tarnish. Okay. Now, thermodynamics and kinetics of a corrosion. What is thermodynamics and what is kinetics of corrosion? So we understood that corrosion is nothing but a reaction between the metal and its surrounding. Now, what is thermodynamics of the reaction, and what is, right, and the kinetics of the reaction? Basically, if we look into these three reactions, magnesium react with its surrounding or environment like water and oxygen. Metal copper also react with the same water and oxygen. Gold Au also it reacts with the water and oxygen, and they give rise to these are the products. Now if a question comes, does all these metals react with this water and oxygen to give this product? Right, definitely it is a question. Then what is our answer? Is it all the metals react with its surrounding and undergoes corrosion? Right? To answer this question, we need the thermodynamics. So thermodynamics can answer whether a particular reaction is favored in a particular direction or no. Right? What is that thermodynamic parameter? That is nothing but the change in the free energy. Normally in the chemistry we call as Gibbs free energy, right? If you look into the free energy change, which is a parameter that can speak about the feasibility or possibility of a reaction, right? Generally, if the free energy change del G value, if it is negative, this del G value, if it is negative, it is feasible or possible. So if you look into this reaction, these two reactions have a negative del G value. That's why these are possible reactions. But here del G is positive. That means gold does not react with it and does not give this product. Means this reaction does not exist. Whereas these two reactions are possible. So now this feasibility or possibility of a reaction is explained by thermodynamics, right? What is kinetics? Kinetics is what happens with respect to time. That's kinetic, right? Whenever the time parameter comes into picture, then we can go to kinetics, right? Rate, right? So here the kinetics speaks about how fast a reaction can take place. Try to understand here. Thermodynamic can speak whether a reaction can take place or no, but it cannot speak how fast the reaction goes. But kinetics can speak about how fast the reaction can proceed. But again, the fastness or the rate of that reaction depends upon various factors. Like here it is, what is the nature of the metal, then what is the concentration of the corrosive medium or the surrounding of the environment, what is the pH of the also the corroding medium, and what is the temperature of the surrounding, and also what is the nature of the corrosion product that is formed over the surface. Types of corrosion. Primarily, there are two types. It is classified. One is dry or chemical corrosion. Another is wet or electrochemical corrosion. Now have a look into this. Dry or chemical corrosion. As the name dry, that means there is no aqueous medium. That means the corrosion takes place in absence of a aqueous medium or water. That's why it is so named as a dry, right? So this dry corrosion occurs due to the direct chemical action of atmospheric gases on the metal surface. Means the metal surface directly interact with its surrounding gases. What are the gases? Maybe like it is oxygen, sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, like chlorine, right? So now all these surrounding gases that are react with the metal, and metal undergoes corrosion, right? That is what a dry and chemical corrosion. Example is tarnishing of silver materials in presence of a H2S gas, right? This is what a tarnishing. This is the pure silver, and it undergoes a tarnishing in presence of a hydrogen sulfide. In the one of the previous slide I told, silver sulfide is formed here, right? So another example here, a pure metal. So what happens? It is exposed to the atmosphere here, atmospheric gases. Now what happens when metal react with the atmospheric gases? A thin layer of what happens? Corrosion product is formed. More is exposed time, what happens? The thickness of the corrosion product increases. But all this takes place in absence of a aqueous medium. That's why it is called as a dry corrosion. One example is here. This is also steel. Both are steel, carbon steel and stainless steel. Here in the carbon steel, the chromium percentage is less than 11%, but in the stainless steel, the chromium percentage is more than 11%. Basically, the steel composition is carbon, iron, and chromium, right? Now, if you look into this, in the carbon steel, which contains less than 11% of chromium, there is the formation of rust over its surface. Whereas, in case of a stainless steel, there is no rust formation. Here, what happens? It forms a passive film. That means this acts as a protective barrier. Exactly what happens here. This is iron, carbon, chromium, nothing but the steel. Now the chromium present in this react with the oxygen and form a, what happens? The protective oxide layer, that is chromium oxide. Here it is formed, right? But here even though chromium is there, and if it less than 11%, it is not enough to form a passive layer here. That's why rust is formed. Now the second type of corrosion is wet or electrochemical corrosion. As the name wet, right? What does it mean? Means the corrosion takes place in presence of a water or aqueous medium, and it's a common type of a corrosion of metals in aqueous environment. Okay, have a look into this now. This is a thin what happens metallic plate, and when it comes in contact with the aqueous medium, right, it undergoes corrosion. What the wet corrosion is? Right, corrosion takes place in presence of a aqueous environment. Now, also this corrosion takes place when the metal comes in contact with a conducting liquid, right? Conducting liquid means electrolyte. Let us have a look into this here. So here, what happens? Metal comes in contact with a conducting liquid. Now let us, this entire is nothing but, right? This gray color is nothing but a iron metal. And it comes in contact with a conducting liquid is nothing but water. It's just on its surface. Now what happens when the metal comes in contact with a conducting liquid, then one part of the metal acts as a cathode and other part acts as a cathode. A small part on the metal surface acts as anode and the rest of the metal surface acts as cathode. That's why cathode is here, also cathode is here, and a small part here acts as anode, right? So the what happens anode, normally we know at anode oxidation takes place, right? Oxidation means what? The metal undergoes a dissolution, right? So the iron metal from this, it goes as ion into the electrolyte with a liberation of 2 electrons. Now these 2 electrons goes to the cathode here. Also here it goes to the cathode, right? Try to understand. Means there's a, as iron metal undergoes dissolution, there is a loss of material. This is nothing but the corrosion. That's a corrosion takes place at a node where oxidation takes place. So here now the electron which is produced at anode that moves to the cathode, and once the electron reach at the cathode, then it react with oxygen gas and water that is present in the electrolyte and give rise to hydroxyl ion, right? Now this hydroxyl ion at a cathode and this metal ion at the anode, they combine both, give rise to iron hydroxide, right? This is called as ferrous hydroxide. But in presence of more oxygen, it gives rise to iron oxide in the hydrated form. This is nothing but your rust, and this is which G, okay, that is red is color, or we call reddish brown normally what we see, right? So this is the example one, rusting of iron in the atmosphere. So an example is here, another example also. This is what happens, single metal, right? Here what happens, one part acts as an anode, other part acts as a cathode. And this is nothing but the water which acts as an electrolyte. And this anode undergoes a corrosion. As I have explained here, anode where oxidation takes place, that undergoes a corrosion. So the corrosion takes place at a anode. So here another also example of wet corrosion, right? When two dissimilar metals are dipped in a solution, also this corrosion takes place. Let us have a look into this. It contains two parts. This is one part and this is another part, right? Right? When both comes in contact, right? And they're dipped in a solution. Dipped in means also they will come in contact with a conducting liquid. Then one of the metal undergoes corrosion. Which metal undergoes corrosion? Where oxidation takes place, or the metal which act as a anode, right? So now if you look into this, it undergoes corrosion, right, when both are connected. And where is the solution here? At the joining place, right, the electrolyte is there. What is that? It may be also aqueous, like water vapor, right, or maybe any water also, right? So this is what, when the two dissimilar metals are dipped in a solution or they come in contact with a conducting liquid, then wet corrosion also takes place. Okay, for more details you can refer this site. So this is what another, the basic corrosion cell, what it is exactly. Two dissimilar metals, this is a anode, right, that is steel, this cathode, this copper. Now two different metals, right, they are dipped in a solution. This is the what happens, the blue color is the solution or electrolyte. Then what happens, corrosion takes place at a node. Already I have told, anode where oxidation takes place, that means this metal undergoes a dissolution. That's why steel which contains iron goes into iron. That's why there is a loss of a material, hence corrosion takes place at anode. And the electron which is liberated here, that moves through the connecting wire and goes to the cathode, right? Another example here also. So here this is aluminum, this is copper, right? Two different metals come in contact with the common electrolyte over its surface. It could be also water or any conducting liquid. Then corrosion takes place at aluminum, right? And copper does not undergo corrosion, right? The metal which is more reactive, that undergoes corrosion. Now, what is the prevention method? How to prevent or control the corrosion? One is a coating, right? What happens, we in your day-to-day life, right? Many of the materials we have seen, that we coat to prevent them from corrosion, right? So different paint we can use for coating purpose. But what is the principle lying behind this coating, right? The thing is that when a metal is coated, right, by any coat or by paint, then the metal is not exposed to its surrounding. As it is not exposed to the surrounding, it cannot react with the atmospheric gases. Or if an electrolyte is there in water vapor, that cannot directly come in contact with the metal surface. The coat acts as a barrier between its surrounding and the pure metal surface. So that's why if a coat is there, that acts as a barrier between the surrounding and the metal, hence prevent the corrosion. One example is here, right? This is what happens here. Eiffel Tower, this is made from iron. See how it is rusted, but what happens, it is being what happens coated its entire surface by some coat. That's why it looks like this, right? Pleasant color, right? So this is what happens, the corrosion is prevented by coating. These are some examples of a coating, like, so here like some what happens, some protective coatings there. Here also some protective coating. Here also even though it is a concrete, but it is being coated with a coat, right? And also this is what happens, see the vehicles, the car, without what happens coating, it undergoes corrosion, right? There is a rust formation, right? To avoid from this, it is being coated with some metallic coating. And these are also some industrial coatings also there, and also there is application in the marine devices. Now another is corrosion control by metallic coating. Normally in our day-to-day life, we see these two processes are being used. One is galvanization, which is nothing but coating of iron surface by zinc, right? So iron is being protected from or prevented from corrosion by giving a coat of zinc over it. Tinning, right? Iron is protected by a coat of a tin over it, right? So this is galvanization and this is tinning, right? This is one example here, like a galvanization, iron is coated with zinc, right? If you look into this, what happens, reactivity, only few metals has been shown here with the reactivity series, right? If you look into reactivity increases in this way, that means magnesium is the highest reactive among all these, and the tin is the least reactive. That means this is the most noble metal among all these, and this is the highest reactivity among these. That means if out of all these metals, magnesium when exposed to atmosphere undergoes corrosion faster, whereas tin goes with a little bit less rate because it is more noble in nature, right? So based on the reactivity, the metal undergoes a corrosion reactions. Now, for example here, the galvanization, how means we can coat it. So here, for example, this is what happens, the galvanization process. This molten zinc, the material to be protected, right? That is allowed to dip in the molten zinc, right? And then the zinc is coated over the material. Similarly, here also another process. This is called as hot dipping. Another is called also like electroplating. This is a method of electroplating. Here what happens, the two metals shown, both are what happens zinc, and they act as anode, right? This one conducting solution, electrolyte. Now what happens, the metal protected will be dipped here. What happens then, as these zinc metal act as anode, that means oxidation takes place at these two. Oxidation means dissolution of these two metals, right? So these two metals comes into this electrolyte as zinc ion, and they get deposit over this article to be protected. Hence the entire surface is coated by the zinc ion. Another is corrosion control by cathodic protection, right? What is cathodic protection? As we have discussed previously, right? Normally in the corrosion process, one part acts as an anode, other part acts as a cathode. Normally the corrosion takes place at an anode where the metal undergoes a dissolution, where cathode is protected. That's why in the cathodic protection, the principle is if the metal to be protected, right, act as a cathode in the corrosion cell, then the metal will be protected. That's why the cathodic protection principle is we have to make the metal to be protected to act as a cathode in an electrochemical cell or corrosion cell. Now it is of two types. One is sacrificial anode, another is impressed current. One is sacrificial anodic protection, another is impressed current cathodic protection. What are these two? Let us have a look into. So what is a sacrificial anodic protection? As the name is sacrificial anodic, that means the anode sacrifice itself to protect the cathode. That's what the name is sacrificial anodic protection. Now if you want to protect this cathodic material, then it is connected to another metal which is highly reactive with its surrounding. That's why when both are connected, as it is more reactive compared to this cathode, then what happens? It undergoes corrosion and the cathode metal undergoes a protection, or it is prevented from what happens from corrosion process. So by the way, now the anode which sacrifices itself undergoes a corrosion by protecting the cathode. That's why the name is called as sacrificial anodic protection, right? Example here. Now this is the iron. We want to protect it. That's why galvanization has been made. The entire surface has been covered by zinc. Okay. So here, if at all little bit pore is there or fracture is there over the surface, even though it is covered by zinc, right? Iron will not undergo corrosion. Why? Because zinc is more reactive as compared to iron. If at all corrosion will take place, then zinc undergoes a corrosion, means zinc undergoes a dissolution. That's why zinc goes into ions and iron is protected. So that's what happens. Zinc is nothing but act as your sacrificial anode, right? Here it is another is a tinning process. Iron is covered by tin, and we have seen in the activity series, tin is a noble metal compared to iron, right? Among these two metals, iron is more prone towards corrosion, but the protection is well and good if the entire surface, if the entire surface is covered by tin. If at all a little bit fracture or any fracture is there, hole is there, then tin is protected because it is more noble metal, right? And iron act as anode and severe corrosion will take place. Now, what are the applications of sacrificial anodic protection? Like in the marine structures, like in the drill bore, these are the iron pillars, right? It is in the presence of a water medium in the sea. That's why these are the steel legs made from iron to protect it or to prevent it from corrosion, right? At the bottom of each, what happens, the iron metal, another metal which is more reactive towards corrosion is being placed. As a result, it sacrifices itself to protect the iron metal, right? Basically what happens, we have seen from the activity series, like magnesium and zinc, they are more reactive. That's why this is what happens, magnesium is used here. Here magnesium, here also can be placed. Another example here, all these structures inside the water, right? What happens in the seabed? For example, if you want to protect these, what happens, metal rods, right? Then see, in each metal rod some blocks has been fitted. These blocks act as a sacrificial anode, right? If at all corrosion takes place, then this metal will undergo corrosion by protecting the, what happens, the other metallic rod which we want to protect. Another is also in the protection or prevention of corrosion in the ship. Basically this is the ship hull, right? If you want to protect it, the entire area, then what happens, these are the blocks has been fitted. These blocks are nothing but act as a sacrificial anode, and this entire body structure act as a, what happens, your cathode. If at all corrosion takes place, then corrosion takes place at this. That means these metals undergoes dissolution. They goes into ions, right? Whereas the body structure is protected. Another is cathodic protection by impressed current system. What is impressed current system? In this method, an impressed current is applied in opposite direction to nullify the corrosion current and make the corroding metal from anode to cathode. Basically what happens in this, right? From a DC source, impressed current is supplied, right, through some insoluble anode, right, to nullify the corrosion current, right? So that what happens, the metal to be protected convert from anode to cathode. As we have discussed, normally the corrosion takes place at anode. Now if the metal to be protected here, this metal, right, we can convert from anode to cathode, then it does not undergoes corrosion. How it can be made? It can be made by applying what happens, the impressed current from a direct source, right? And these are some of the anodes which are insoluble in nature. So this is the current flow direction, right? This is supplies electron, it comes this way and through the anode, and it comes through the medium, this electrolyte, and reach here, right? As a result, this metal is being protected. Let us have a look into this. Both has been shown here. Galvanic, your sacrificial anodic protection, and impressed current cathodic protection. So here, this is what happens, the metal to be protected. So it is connected to another metal which is more reactive. That's why this undergoes corrosion, it undergoes dissolution, electron is released, and the electron flow from anode to cathode. That's why it is being protected. This undergoes corrosion. Impressed current cathodic protection is what? This you need to be protected, right? So it is connected to an anode which is insoluble and more noble in nature, and what happens, electron source is being provided from external DC source here, electron source, and now the electron moves from here, from anode, right, to the cathode, and this metal is protected. But the application of impressed current cathodic protection, these are the different applications. It can be used in the like underlying pipes, maybe in the subsoil, or maybe in the deep in the sea ocean, okay, and also like pipelines buried in the soil, like vessels, tanks buried in the soil, right, and in the oil platforms. Now another application of a sacrificial anodic protection. Now what happens is the sea, which acts as electrolyte. This is the ship, need to be protected, connected to anode, a noble metal, right, and which is mostly insoluble in nature, connected to the DC source, right. As a result, now it converts into cathode by connecting to this. That's why it is being protected. Now the electron comes from here through the anode, move to the cathode. Another what happens, ICCP method. Now the metallic rod which is underneath, right, or deep in the sea, see these are some yellow portions is being shown. These are nothing but ICCP systems, impressed current cathodic protection. As a result, the metal is protected. Some examples here also. These are nothing but, right, some bridge structure it may be. So what happens, these are nothing but the, what happens, ICCP, what happens, the systems here that is being fitted here. All these are what happens, fitted to protect this structure. The last one is what happens, it is from a research paper, like it is from Massachusetts Institute of Technology. The author is David L. Chandler. What happens, they found there are some metal oxides that could protect against corrosion themselves. They protect corrosion, right? There is no need of additional what happens, supplement towards its prevention. These are nothing but what happens, the metal oxides, right? If at all anything happens to its surface, it has a self-healing property. Okay, these are the references, okay, from which materials has been used, and what happens also, you may go through all those links for more details. This is the end of this, what happens, the discussion. This is all about what corrosion is and what are the prevention methods. Still more is there, that is not described here.